Charles, Dad, Pawpaw, Papa, Charlie. I don't think he liked that last name, but he allowed some people at church to call him that. He was many things to many people. He was a husband, a father, a grandfather, a brother, an uncle, a friend, a veteran, a servant, a teacher, a postmaster. The list goes on. But most of all, he was a child of God. And though we miss him fiercely, we have that blessed assurance, according to 2 Corinthians 5:8, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. He was a quiet man, but when he did talk, he would usually say something profound or funny. He spoke his mind, even when maybe he shouldn't have. But I like that about him. You knew what you got with him. He didn't sugarcoat things. He excelled in just about everything he touched. In the army, he was a radio operator. His sergeant said he was the best he'd ever had. In fact, I just found out that he was such a good soldier and a good shooter that West Point tried to recruit him. He declined though, because he said he had someone special waiting for him at home and wanted to begin his life journey with her. Then he worked in the postal service. He worked all the way up to postmaster. At church, he served in cooking ministry and worked all the way up to one of the main leaders. Later in life, we found out that not only could he paint, but he was an artist. He loved his family very much. His grandkids had a special spot in his heart. In fact, one of the only times I saw him mad was when he found out that he couldn't go to the games to watch his grandkids in the band because of COVID-19. I got a rare glimpse of a different side of him that I'll never forget. Quite a few years ago, while in the men's ministry, I needed help and I wanted to get him plugged into church, getting to know other guys, but I didn't want it to be weird that I was ultimately his superior. I didn't want it to be awkward in case I had to get on to him about something. So I prayed for it for a while, and I finally asked him. One of the best decisions. It was so awesome to see him laugh and joke and serve. He definitely had a servant's heart. He loved to help others. While cooking with him or helping in the kitchen at church, it was easy to eavesdrop, and I would often hear him brag about his family. I don't remember specifically what was said, but over the years working with him, I would hear him talk to the other guys about Marcia, Chris and Lindsay, Michelle, and of course his grandkids. But I always thought it was special how he'd find ways to talk about what was important to him, his family. He also showed love by cooking. I remember every Thanksgiving and Christmas, Michelle and I would have the same conversation. Why do your parents put this much load on themselves, willingly I might add, to cook this much food? It was out of love. The day Charles went to be with the Lord, Marcia was reminiscing about when they first met, how they just clicked because they had so much in common. It's true, but it also reminded me about Genesis 2:24, which says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined with his wife, and they shall become one flesh." The two became one. I see a lot of similarities in his wife, Marcia. He was strong. He once told me he could kill a man with his bare hands. Also, he was the only 50-year-old plus guy that I had ever seen do push-ups. Remember when Michelle and I first got engaged, we all went out to my mom's house and we were playing charades. His word, of course, was push-ups, so we got down on the floor and started doing push-ups. I see that same strength in his wife, Marcia. Sunday, when the doctors came in to tell us the worst news you could, there was Marcia, consoling them, not the other way around. God's strength through her is a testimony to all those around her. I often think about when I asked for permission for Charles' daughter's hand in marriage, which, by fact, was the best decision I ever made. He said, "She can be a handful." Once again, saying those things maybe he shouldn't have. My response was, well, I have two hands, meaning I was ready and willing to be there for her through thick and thin. Well, we collectively here have many hands and will be through this life together. His legacy will live on because of all the lives he has touched. Each one of us and many more have been changed because of him. He is up in heaven with his Savior, his son Randy, his mom and dad, brother, friends and family he had lost, and fellow soldiers he served with. He's eagerly awaiting the time that we will all be together again. But we have a job to do here. God is not finished with us here on earth yet. We are to continue Charles' legacy of enriching the lives of those around us, serving those God has placed in our path, and loving our family with all of our heart. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry that you weren't able to pay your respects in person, but because of COVID-19, we wanted to keep everyone safe. Charles loved each and every one of you, and we are so grateful for the love and support you have shown the family. We will see him again. God bless.